There is a lesson that every Aquarius carries deep inside, one that most people never fully understand, and when you finally grasp it, everything in your life begins to shift toward a kind of freedom you have been quietly searching for all along. This is not a lesson about letting go of people or walking away from your responsibilities. It is something far more powerful than that. It is about learning to honor the part of yourself that has always known you were meant to live differently, to think differently, to love differently. The truth is, Aquarius, the world has been asking you to fit into shapes that were never designed for someone like you. And for years, maybe even decades, you tried. You bent yourself. You quieted your voice. You dimmed something inside just to make others comfortable. But that time is ending. What you are about to hear in this video is not just information. It is a mirror. Every single tip is going to reflect back a piece of your nature that you may have been ignoring or suppressing. And as you move through each one, you will feel something start to unlock. A weight will begin to lift. A clarity will settle in. Stay with me through every section, because the last few tips hold the deepest truths. And those are the ones that will change how you see yourself from this day forward. Tip 1. You were never meant to follow the crowd, and your refusal to do so is not a flaw. It is your greatest strength. From the time you were very young, you felt it. Something inside you that looked at the way everyone else was living and quietly whispered, "That is not for me." Maybe you could not explain it back then. Maybe you still struggle to put it into words today. But the feeling has always been there. A sense that you were wired for a different kind of path. And here is what most people never tell you about that feeling. It is not rebellion. It is not stubbornness. It is alignment. You were born under a sign that is literally designed to see beyond the surface, to question what everyone else accepts without thinking, and to imagine possibilities that have not been created yet. That is not something to apologize for. That is something to celebrate. But for most of your life, the world has treated your independence like a problem. Teachers wanted you to follow instructions without asking why. Bosses wanted you to do things the way they had always been done. Even people who loved you sometimes looked at you with confusion because you just did not operate the way they expected. And so, over time, many Aquarius souls start to believe that something is wrong with them. They start to shrink. They start pretending they do not see what they see or feel what they feel. They trade their authenticity for acceptance, and the cost of that trade is enormous. It shows up as anxiety. It shows up as restlessness. It shows up as that constant nagging feeling that you are living someone else's life instead of your own. But here is the truth that sets you free. You were never meant to follow the crowd because you were meant to show the crowd a new direction. That does not mean you have to stand on a stage or lead some kind of movement. Sometimes it simply means living your life in a way that is honest, making choices based on what actually resonates with your soul, instead of what looks acceptable to everyone around you. When you start doing that, something remarkable happens. The people who belong in your life start showing up. The opportunities that match your real energy start appearing. The stress that came from pretending starts to dissolve. And you realize that what you thought was your biggest weakness, your refusal to just go along, was actually the compass that was trying to guide you home all along. So many Aquarius individuals spend years fighting against their own nature, trying to be more conventional, more predictable, more normal. But normal was never your assignment. Your assignment is to be genuinely, fully, unapologetically yourself. And the moment you accept that assignment, the freedom you have been craving starts to arrive. Not someday, not when conditions are perfect. Right now, in whatever season of life you are standing in, you do not need anyone's permission to reclaim this part of yourself. You do not need the world to agree with you before you start living your truth. The agreement of others is a luxury, not a requirement. And the sooner you internalize that, the sooner every area of your life begins to shift. Your energy changes. Your confidence deepens. Your decisions become clearer because they come from the core of who you are instead of from fear of what others will think. That leads directly into something even deeper you need to understand about how your mind actually works. Tip 2. Your overthinking is not a curse. It is a signal that your mind is processing something your heart already knows. If there is one complaint that Aquarius hears more than any other, it is this: you think too much. People have said it to you your entire life. They have told you to stop analyzing, stop questioning, stop turning things over and over in your head. And maybe you have even started to believe them. Maybe you have started to see your own mind as an enemy, something that keeps you up at night, something that makes simple decisions feel complicated, something that exhausts you. But I need you to hear this clearly. Your mind is not your enemy. Your mind is one of the most brilliant instruments you were given in this life. The problem has never been that you think too much. The problem is that you have been thinking about the wrong things for the wrong reasons. Let me explain what I mean. When an Aquarius overthinks, it is almost always because there is a misalignment somewhere in their life. Your mind picks up on things that your conscious awareness has not caught yet. It notices when a relationship does not feel right. It senses when a career path is leading nowhere. It detects when you are settling for something beneath what you deserve. And because your mind is so powerful, it will not let you ignore those signals. It keeps circling back, keeps poking at the discomfort, keeps refusing to let you rest until you pay attention. That is not a curse. That is a gift. The overthinking is your inner wisdom trying to get a message through to you. And the moment you start listening to it instead of fighting it, your entire experience of your own mind changes. Instead of lying awake feeling anxious, you start lying awake receiving clarity. Instead of feeling paralyzed by options, you start feeling guided toward the right one. Instead of exhausting yourself with worry, you start channeling that mental energy into creation, into planning, into building something meaningful. The key is learning to distinguish between productive thought and fearful thought. Productive thought feels like exploration, feels like curiosity, feels like putting puzzle pieces together. Fearful thought feels like spinning. It feels like repeating the same scenario over and over without moving forward. It feels like drowning in what might go wrong. Once you learn to recognize the difference, you can redirect your mental energy with precision. You can tell yourself, this is fear talking and I choose not to follow it. Or you can say, this is insight arriving and I am going to sit with it. That simple awareness changes everything. Your mind was built for depth. It was built for complexity. It was built for seeing patterns that no one else can see. That is your superpower as an Aquarius. And when you learn to work with it instead of against it, you unlock a level of wisdom and clarity that most people will never experience. The freedom you are looking for does not come from silencing your mind. It comes from understanding it. And once you understand it, there is no limit to what you can create with it. But there is another layer to this that most Aquarius souls completely overlook. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Tip 3. Emotional detachment is not coldness. It is a form of self-preservation that has served you well, but it is time to use it more wisely. People have called you cold. They have called you distant. They have looked into your eyes during moments of conflict or chaos and wondered why you seem so calm, so unmoved, so unreachable. And every time they said those things, a small part of you felt misunderstood. Because you know the truth. You are not cold. You feel things deeply. Sometimes more deeply than anyone around you. The difference is that you learned very early in life that showing all of your emotions made you vulnerable in ways that felt dangerous. So you built walls. Not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. You learned to process internally. You learned to observe before reacting. You learned to step back from emotional situations so you could think clearly instead of being swept away by the current. And for a long time, that strategy protected you. It kept you safe in relationships where others might have been destroyed. It kept you functional during crises that brought other people to their knees. It gave you a reputation for being strong, composed, reliable in the storm. But here is where the lesson deepens. That same emotional detachment that protected you has also, at times, prevented you from experiencing the full richness of connection. It has kept people at arm's length even when you wanted them closer. It has made you appear indifferent when inside you were aching. It has created a gap between who you truly are and who the world gets to see. And that gap, that is where loneliness lives. Not the kind of loneliness that comes from being alone. The kind that comes from being surrounded by people who do not actually know you. The lesson here is not to tear down your walls completely. You built them for good reason, and some of them still serve a purpose. The lesson is to become more intentional about when you use them and when you lower them. There are people in your life right now who have earned the right to see the real you. People who have proven through their actions, not just their words, that they can be trusted with your vulnerability. And when you give those people access to the parts of yourself that you normally keep hidden, something extraordinary happens. The connection deepens in ways you did not think were possible. The relationship becomes a source of energy instead of a drain. You start to feel seen, truly seen, in a way that fills a hunger you might not have even known you had. Freedom for an Aquarius is not just about independence from external limitations. It is also about freedom from the internal patterns that keep you locked in isolation when your soul is asking for intimacy. Learning to be selectively open, to choose vulnerability with the right people at the right times, is one of the most courageous things you can do. And the rewards are beyond anything your logical mind can calculate. You will find that the connections forged in vulnerability are stronger than any you have ever built through distance. They become the relationships that sustain you through storms, that celebrate your victories without jealousy, that hold space for your darkness without flinching. Those are the connections your soul has been starving for, and allowing yourself to build them is not weakness. It is one of the most powerful decisions you will ever make. This shift in how you handle your emotions connects directly to something that affects every relationship you have ever had. Tip 4. You do not need people to understand you completely. You just need them to respect the parts they do not understand. This is one of the deepest sources of frustration for an Aquarius. You want to be understood. You want people to look at you and just get it. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you see the world. But the truth is, very few people ever will. Not because something is wrong with them, not because they are not intelligent or caring enough, simply because your mind operates on a frequency that most people are not tuned into. You see connections where others see chaos. You feel possibilities where others feel fear. You carry a vision of what life could be that is so vivid, so real to you, that it is genuinely baffling when others cannot see it too. And for years this mismatch has caused you pain. You have felt lonely in crowded rooms. You have felt frustrated in conversations where no one seemed to follow your train of thought. You have pulled away from people not because you did not care about them, but because the effort of constantly explaining yourself became exhausting. But here is the shift that changes everything. You do not actually need to be fully understood. What you need is to be respected. There is a profound difference between those two things. Understanding requires someone to see the world through your eyes, and that is almost impossible for most people. Respect simply requires them to acknowledge that your perspective is valid, even if they cannot fully grasp it. When you stop chasing understanding and start requiring respect, your relationships transform overnight. You stop over-explaining yourself. You stop defending every decision. You stop performing your reasoning for people who are never going to get it anyway. Instead, you simply live your truth and let people choose whether or not they want to be part of your journey. And here is what you will discover. The people who genuinely care about you will stay. They will respect your differences even when they do not comprehend them. They will trust your judgment even when your choices baffle them. They will give you space when you need it and closeness when you want it, not because they understand why you need those things, but because they love you enough to honor what you ask for. That is real love. That is the kind of connection that sustains an Aquarius for a lifetime. Not a love built on someone fully decoding your inner world, but a love built on someone choosing to walk beside you even when your inner world remains partially mysterious to them. The freedom in this realization is enormous. It releases you from the impossible burden of making yourself small enough or simple enough to be easily understood. It allows you to be vast, complex, multi-layered, and still deeply connected to the people who matter most. Think about how much energy you have wasted over the years trying to make people see what you see. Think about the exhaustion of translating your inner world into language that others can digest. Now imagine releasing all of that. Imagine simply being who you are and allowing the right people to find their way to you. That is the shift. That is the freedom. And it begins the moment you stop requiring understanding and start requiring respect. And speaking of connection, there is a pattern that Aquarius tends to repeat that directly undermines the relationships you care about most. Tip 5. Walking away too soon is not strength. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stay and work through the discomfort. Aquarius has a reputation for being able to walk away from anything. Jobs, relationships, cities, entire chapters of life. You can close a door and never look back with a finality that astonishes the people around you. And in many cases, that ability has served you well. It has saved you from toxic situations that would have drained you. It has moved you forward when staying would have meant stagnation. It has protected your peace in moments when your peace was under genuine threat. But there is a shadow side to this ability, and it is important to be honest about it. Sometimes you walk away not because the situation is truly bad for you, but because it is uncomfortable. And there is a critical difference between those two things. Discomfort is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes discomfort is a sign that something is growing. Think about every meaningful change you have ever made in your life. It was uncomfortable. Think about every deep relationship you have ever built. There were moments of friction, of misunderstanding, of wanting to leave. Think about every skill you ever mastered, every challenge you ever overcame. Every single one of them required you to stay in the discomfort long enough for it to transform into something valuable. The Aquarius instinct to leave when things get hard is rooted in self-protection. And that instinct is valid, but it needs to be balanced with discernment. Before you walk away from something, ask yourself this honest question. Am I leaving because this is genuinely harmful to me, or am I leaving because it is asking me to grow in a way that feels scary? If the answer is the second one, then walking away is not strength. It is avoidance dressed up as independence. And that kind of avoidance will follow you from situation to situation, relationship to relationship, job to job, always arriving at the same crossroads and always choosing the exit instead of the evolution. The lesson here is not to stay in situations that damage you. You should absolutely leave anything that is truly toxic, abusive, or draining with no prospect of change. The lesson is to develop the ability to distinguish between what is destroying you and what is developing you, because they can feel remarkably similar in the moment. Growth often feels like friction. Transformation often feels like loss. Deepening often feels like risk. And if you bail every time those feelings arise, you miss the very experiences that would have taken you to the next level of your life. The bravest version of you is not the one who walks away from everything. It is the one who stays when staying requires courage, who pushes through when pushing through requires faith, who chooses the discomfort of growth over the comfort of escape. That version of you is waiting on the other side of every challenge you have been tempted to run from. There is a richness that only comes from perseverance, a depth of understanding that only emerges when you sit with something long enough to see it from every angle, a quality of love that only develops when two people work through their roughest edges together, instead of retreating at the first sign of friction. You deserve that richness, but you will only find it on the other side of the discomfort you have been so quick to escape. And what comes next builds directly on this idea in a way you might not expect. Tip 6. Your need for freedom is sacred. But true freedom is not about having no commitments. It is about choosing the right ones. Freedom is the word that lives at the center of every Aquarius heart. It is not just something you want. It is something you need the way you need air, water, light. When your freedom feels threatened, everything in you tightens. Your chest constricts. Your thoughts race. Your instinct to run kicks in with a force that can overwhelm rational thought. And because of this, many Aquarius individuals structure their entire lives around avoiding commitment. They keep relationships casual. They avoid long-term plans. They resist anything that feels like it might pin them down or lock them in. And on the surface, that looks like freedom. But if you are honest with yourself, you know it does not always feel like freedom. Sometimes it feels like floating. Sometimes it feels like drifting. Sometimes it feels like standing in the middle of an open field with endless directions to walk and being completely paralyzed by the lack of a path. That is because true freedom and the absence of commitment are not the same thing. True freedom is not about having nothing to answer to. It is about having something worth being devoted to. When you find the right relationship, it does not cage you. It gives you a home base from which to explore the world. When you find the right work, it does not limit you. It gives your brilliance a channel through which to flow. When you find the right purpose, it does not restrict you. It gives your life a direction that makes every step feel meaningful instead of random. The Aquarius who runs from all commitment is not free. They are lost. They have confused movement with progress and solitude with sovereignty. Real freedom comes from choosing your commitments with intention, from saying yes to the things that align with your deepest values and saying no to everything else. When you do that, something magical happens. The commitments do not feel like chains. They feel like anchors. In the best possible sense, they keep you grounded when the winds of change blow too hard. They give you something to return to when the world feels overwhelming. They create a structure within which your creativity and independence can actually flourish. Think of it like this. A river without banks is just a flood, goes everywhere and gets nowhere. But a river with banks, that river has power, direction, force. It carves canyons. It sustains ecosystems. It flows with purpose. Your freedom needs banks. It needs chosen boundaries. It needs commitments that you have selected with care and consciousness. Not obligations imposed by others. Not expectations you never agreed to. But sacred, intentional, freely chosen commitments that give your life shape without suffocating your spirit. That is the kind of freedom that actually satisfies the Aquarius soul. And once you embrace it, you stop running and start building. And what you build becomes something that outlasts you, something that matters, something that makes the freedom feel earned and real. The irony is that the Aquarius who chooses commitment wisely ends up with more freedom than the one who avoids it entirely. Because chosen commitments create stability, and stability creates the foundation from which true exploration becomes possible. You cannot fly without a place to launch from. You cannot explore without a home to return to. The commitments are not the cage. They are the wings. Now, there is a quiet habit that many Aquarius carry that directly interferes with this kind of purposeful living. Tip 7. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one you create by taking action right now. If there is one thing that can quietly sabotage an Aquarius life, it is waiting. Not the kind of waiting that comes from patience or wisdom, the kind of waiting that comes from perfectionism. You see the vision so clearly. You know exactly what you want to create, build, or become. But because your standards are so high and your awareness is so sharp, you can always see the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And that gap, it paralyzes you. You tell yourself you will start when conditions are better. You will begin that project when you have more resources. You will have that conversation when the timing feels right. You will make that change when you feel ready. But ready never arrives. Not in the way you are imagining it. Because readiness is not a feeling that descends upon you from some external source. Readiness is a decision. It is a choice you make in the face of uncertainty, in the middle of imperfect conditions, with no guarantee of success. Every great thing that has ever been created in this world was started by someone who was not ready. They were scared. They were uncertain. They did not have all the answers. But they started anyway. And the act of starting, the act of moving forward before everything was perfect, is what created the momentum that eventually led to something extraordinary. As an Aquarius, your vision is one of your greatest gifts. You can see possibilities that others cannot even imagine. But vision without action is just daydreaming. It is entertainment for your mind but starvation for your soul. Your soul does not want to imagine a beautiful life. It wants to live one. And living one requires you to tolerate imperfection. It requires you to start before you are ready, to launch before it is polished, to speak before you have rehearsed every word. I know that feels terrifying for you. I know your instinct is to plan, to analyze, to prepare until every variable has been accounted for. But life does not wait for your analysis to be complete. Opportunities have expiration dates. Relationships need attention now, not when you have figured out the optimal way to show love. Your health needs care today, not when you have designed the perfect wellness routine. The perfect moment you are waiting for. It does not exist. It never has. The only moment that exists is this one. And this one is messy, uncertain, imperfect, and absolutely perfect for beginning. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. That simple formula has more power in it than 1,000 perfectly laid plans that never get executed. The Aquarius who learns this lesson stops living in the future and starts living in the present. And the present is where all freedom actually exists. There is something deeply liberating about taking imperfect action. It breaks the spell of perfectionism. It proves to your nervous system that you can survive doing something before it is flawless. And each time you act before you are ready, the next time becomes easier. The muscle of courage strengthens. The voice of perfectionism grows quieter. And before you know it, you are no longer someone who dreams about living. You are someone who actually lives. This realization connects to something even more fundamental about how you relate to the world around you. Tip 8. You are not responsible for saving everyone, and releasing that burden is not selfish. It is necessary. There is a quiet heaviness that many Aquarius carry, And it has to do with responsibility. Not the ordinary kind, not the kind that involves paying bills or meeting deadlines. The kind that feels cosmic. A sense that you were put here to help, to fix, to improve, to make things better for everyone around you. And in many ways, that feeling is accurate. Aquarius energy is humanitarian at its core. You genuinely care about the well-being of others. You see suffering and something inside you says, I should do something about that. You see injustice and your blood begins to simmer. You see people struggling and you want to reach out, to offer solutions, to carry some of their weight on your own shoulders. That impulse is beautiful. It is one of the most admirable qualities you possess. But it has a shadow that can destroy you if you are not careful. The shadow is this: you cannot save everyone. You were never supposed to. And the belief that you should try is one of the most exhausting, depleting, soul-crushing burdens you can carry. Think about how many times you have given and given and given until there was nothing left. Think about how many relationships you have poured yourself into, trying to fix someone who did not want to be fixed. Think about how many situations you have inserted yourself into, trying to create peace or solutions, only to walk away drained and unappreciated. That pattern is not nobility. It is self-abandonment disguised as generosity. When you give more than you have, you are not helping anyone. You are just creating two people who are running on empty instead of one. The lesson here is learning to care without caring. You can hold space for someone's pain without absorbing it into your own body. You can offer guidance without taking responsibility for whether they follow it. You can love people without making their healing your personal project. This does not make you selfish. It makes you sustainable. A candle that burns at both ends does not produce twice as much light, just burns out twice as fast. And the world does not need you burned out. The world needs you alive, vibrant, replenished, and shining steadily for the long journey ahead. Setting boundaries around your giving is one of the most radical acts of self-love an Aquarius can practice. Feels wrong at first. Feels like you are abandoning people. Feels like you are turning your back on your purpose. But over time you will see the truth. The boundaries do not diminish your impact. They amplify it. Because when you give from a place of fullness instead of depletion, your giving has actual power. It creates real change. It lasts. It does not come with resentment or exhaustion attached. Learn to ask yourself before you give. Am I doing this because it is truly mine to do, or am I doing this because I feel guilty saying no? That single question will transform your relationship with service, with generosity, with your own energy. And the freedom that comes from releasing the savior role is one of the most profound freedoms an Aquarius can experience. It opens a door to the next truth you need to hear, which touches the very core of how you have been treating yourself. Some people watch, others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting, it's about moving. Tip 9. Forgiving yourself for the time you spent lost is not optional. It is the doorway to every good thing that is waiting for you. There are years you look back on and wonder, what was I doing? How did I let that happen? Why did I stay so long in that situation, that relationship, that mindset? Why did I not see sooner what now seems so obvious? Those questions carry a weight that can press down on your chest if you let them. They carry regret, frustration, and a kind of grief for the version of yourself who did not know better, who could not see clearly, who made choices that you now realize were not aligned with who you truly are. Every Aquarius has chapters like this. Seasons of life where you were so far from your authentic self that looking back feels almost like watching a stranger. And the temptation is to be angry at that stranger, to judge them harshly, to punish yourself for the time you wasted, the opportunities you missed, the love you gave to people who did not deserve it. But here is what you need to understand deeply and completely. You were not lost. You were learning. Every single experience you went through, even the ones that felt like mistakes, even the ones that felt like failures, even the ones that make you cringe when you remember them, they were all building the person you are right now. The wisdom you carry today did not appear out of thin air. It was forged in the fire of those difficult experiences. The strength you feel now was tempered by every challenge you survived. The clarity you are beginning to have about who you are and what you want, that clarity was purchased with every moment of confusion that came before it. You cannot have the person you are becoming without honoring the person you were. They are not separate. They are connected. Every version of you is a chapter in the same story, And no chapter is wasted. The one who stayed too long in the wrong relationship. That person taught you what you actually need from love. The one who spent years in a career that drained you. That person taught you what your real purpose feels like by showing you what it does not feel like. The one who lost themselves trying to please others. That person taught you that your own approval is the only approval that will ever truly satisfy you. Forgiving yourself is not about pretending those chapters did not hurt. They did. They left marks. Some of those marks are still tender when you press on them. Forgiveness is about deciding that those chapters do not define you. They informed you. They educated you. They shaped you. But they do not own you. You are not the sum of your worst decisions. You are the sum of everything you learn from every decision. And you are still learning, still growing, still becoming. The moment you release the self-judgment is the moment the door swings open to a future that has been patiently waiting for you to walk through it. Self-forgiveness is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. Some mornings you will wake up and the old regrets will be sitting on your chest like stones. And on those mornings you will need to choose again. Choose to release. Choose to be gentle with the person you were. Choose to honor the journey that brought you here instead of resenting it. Each time you make that choice, the stones get lighter. Each time you forgive, the path ahead gets clearer. And what waits on the other side is directly connected to the final and most important truth you need to embrace. Tip 10. The freedom you have been searching for your entire life was never outside of you. It has always been an inside job. This is the lesson that every previous tip has been building toward. This is the center of the spiral, the heart of the truth, the one thing that, once you truly understand it, changes every single aspect of your existence. You have spent years, maybe decades, looking for freedom in external circumstances. You thought freedom was about the right job, the right relationship, the right amount of money in your account, the right city to live in, the right conditions in the world around you. And every time you achieved one of those things, the freedom lasted for a moment, and then faded. The restlessness returned. The searching resumed. The feeling that something was still missing crept back in like fog through an open window. That is because you were looking in the wrong direction. Freedom is not a condition. It is a state of being. It is not something the world gives you. It is something you give yourself. It is the decision to stop waiting for permission to be who you are. It is the choice to stop apologizing for your nature, your depth, your difference. It is the commitment to live from the inside out instead of the outside in. When you are free on the inside, external circumstances lose their power over you. A difficult day does not destroy you because your peace is not dependent on easy days. A challenging relationship does not devastate you because your worth is not dependent on someone else's approval. A setback does not crush you because your identity is not attached to constant forward motion. Internal freedom means you have a home inside yourself that nothing external can touch. A place of quiet knowing. A center of gravity that holds steady no matter what storms rage around you. And that home, it has been there all along. You just could not see it because you were too busy looking everywhere else. Building that inner freedom requires daily practice. It requires choosing your own peace over other people's drama. It requires sitting with yourself in silence and discovering that the silence is not empty. It is full of wisdom, full of strength, full of a calm authority that does not need to shout to be heard. It requires learning to validate yourself instead of waiting for others to do it. It requires making decisions based on your own inner compass instead of the opinions of the crowd. And here is the beautiful paradox. When you become truly free on the inside, your outer world begins to reflect that freedom back to you. Relationships become easier because you are no longer bringing neediness into them. Work becomes more fulfilling because you are no longer doing it for approval. Life becomes lighter because you are no longer carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. This is the Aquarius lesson that turns into freedom. Not the freedom to run from everything. The freedom to be fully, completely, courageously yourself in everything. The freedom to think your own thoughts, feel your own feelings, walk your own path, and trust that the path is taking you exactly where you need to go. You have always known this somewhere deep inside. Today is simply the day you stop ignoring it and start living it. Everything you have heard in this video has been pointing to this single moment of recognition, and the power of that recognition will unfold in ways you cannot yet imagine. You have carried so much for so long. You have bent yourself into shapes that were never yours to hold. You have quieted your voice, dimmed your light, shrunk your dreams, all in the name of fitting in, keeping the peace, making And through all of it, something inside you never stopped whispering. This is not all there is. That whisper is your truth. That whisper is your freedom calling. And what I want you to know more than anything else is that it is not too late to answer. It does not matter how many years have passed. It does not matter how far off course you think you have drifted. It does not matter what mistakes you have made or what opportunities you think you have missed. The only moment that matters is this one. Right here. Right now. The energy around you is shifting. The old patterns are loosening their grip. The walls you built for protection are ready to become windows if you let them. And the version of you that has been waiting in the wings, the authentic, powerful, fully alive version of you, is ready to step forward. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when everything is perfect. Now, because perfection was never the requirement, willingness was. And the fact that you are still here, still listening, still searching, that tells me you are willing. That tells me you are ready. That tells me the freedom you have been looking for is closer than you think. It is not across some distant horizon. It is right here inside your chest, beating with every heartbeat, breathing with every breath, waiting with the patience of something that has always known you would eventually come home to it. Trust that. Trust yourself. And watch what happens when you do. You have two options after this video. Close it and hope things shift. Or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.